He specifically said the kid should have a chance. He just basically said, but he wouldn't have it on my team because the reward of what I get, of perhaps I get a third-string linebacker. Maybe I get something out. I don't know. But the reward versus the risk, because the risk is that you distract my quarterback during training and something goes wrong. The risk is that, the media crush leads to some of my rookies that I want to be a part of things to get caught up in whatever it could be. There's so many different things. He didn't want it, and I wouldn't want it either. It's the same argument about Johnny Manziel, except the upside there's where you make your risk versus reward, and you go, yeah, but if he becomes the quarterback that some people think he is, then I'll take that risk. And that's what the Browns decided to do, and we'll see how that plays itself out. But at least the upside is high. I mean, what is your Michael Sam upside? I don't know, man. I mean, I could see Tony Dungys. I could see his point of view, and I don't know. But correct me, you guys. Maybe I'm wrong. He said some egregious thing that everybody else is mad about, but that's what I saw. And there's nothing wrong. And Tony Dungys is a guy that should get the benefit of the doubt on that stuff. Like, he's really a well-spoken, I don't mean well-spoken. I mean, very thoughtful in what he says. He really thinks his stuff through, and far from being bigoted is Tony Dungys. So we'll talk more about that with Dr. Football IC. Man, all right, let's get to the break. We've got my man, Jeff Gorman, coming on next. We're talking Indians baseball. As Drupal goes down, just like that, Francisco goes up to AAA. Is he ready to come up to the next level? We'll talk about that as the Indians continue this road trip. Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com joins us. Dr. Football Bill Chachkes just about 25 minutes from now. Doug Plagens from the Lake Erie Monsters and the Cleveland Gladiators at the top of the hour, and so much more. Don't go anywhere. A jam-packed edition of the Sports Fix is off and running, baby. Here we go.
Since then I've been running around trying to find you. I went to the places that we always go. I rang your house but got no answer. Jumped in my car, I went round there. Still don't believe it, he was just leaving. All there must be some misunderstanding.
The Sports Fix, the show that asks the question,
what you talking about, Lou? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou? What you talking about? What you talking about, Lou?
We'll be right back.
Before we go to the break, guys, I want to talk to you just a second about our friends at GV Art and Design. Baseball's here once again. Cleveland, of course, excited, and GV Artwork teaming up with the Indians, and they're both going to knock it out of the park this season. And listen to some of the new designs they've got for Cleveland baseball fans everywhere. They've dug out an old classic, and they're bringing the heat with the new Wild Thing, Give 'em the Heater Ricky design. GV Artwork is teaming up with Cleveland fan favorite Michael Brantley and created a custom Dr. Smooth t-shirt. Plus, don't forget, they've got the Cleveland That I Glove collection, new tribal and Cleveland That I Love designs for women, and so much more. You can get GV Artwork designs on the website, gvartwork.com. And don't forget to use the sales code FIX10, that's FIX10, and you'll save 10% on your purchase. Or you can check out their new store in Lakewood on Detroit Avenue. Check them out in the Indians team shops and so much more. Cleveland That we all love, GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement.
Hello, Cleveland. This is WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley, and you are listening to the Sports Fix. Yeah!
The engines are cranking and purring, and that can only mean one thing. Bike nights are back at Harry Buffalo North Olmsted. Rev up your hogs and head on down to Harry Buffalo North Olmsted every Monday night. Enjoy $3 drinks and beers, $5 pizzas, and crazy wing specials for all bikers, all on their open patio. Hot bikes, good friends, and great times are waiting for you. 4824 Great Northern Boulevard, right outside Great Northern Mall. Monday bike nights at Harry Buffalo, the proud sponsor of the Sports Fix. Sports Fix listeners, like us on /The Sports Fix.
Cleveland rocks!
Have you gotten your copy of Cleveland's Finest yet? Highlighting the best moments, players, and media members in Cleveland sports history?
He won it! Milo hit a three-pointer on the side.
In-depth personal interviews with some of the top names in Cleveland sports fill the pages of this incredible book. Cleveland's Finest by Vince McKee is this year's must-have book for every Cleveland sports fan. Available now at Amazon.com. Get your copy today.
You're listening to the Sports Fix.
Welcome back to the Sports Fix, live on the Sports Fix Radio Network. J-Rock, Jerry Myers with you, getting ready to be joined on the phones by my man Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com, which means the phones are closed, but you can keep the conversation rolling with me. Facebook.com/The Sports Fix. Tweet with us at The Sports Fix, CLE, all one word. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. And as I said, going to the phone lines, you hear a little center field in the background. I'm feeling good. Indians fans, I think, maybe feeling good this morning, and you're thinking, hey, well, why would that be? If you're not, I understand. Coming off a loss last night, and a tough one to drop, too. When you come back, you're down 2-0, you come back. You're down 3-1, you come back. You got the game right there. Josh Willingham. And what's funny, I know he's having a bad season this year. I just remember, because, being a sports talk guy, I know a lot of you guys do it too as fans, the whole trade deadline watch and all of that stuff, which is coming, by the way. I am totally I'm looking forward to it, and not at the same time, because it's one of my favorite times of the year. But at the same time, I remember the last couple of trade deadlines, literally being awake, having to go outside in 3-4 o'clock in the morning, sitting on the porch on the phone, updating devices and things, and refreshing one thing and another, and trying to stay awake, because it's crazy, because you want to be on top of it. And that 24 hours there heading into the deadline, always fun for us here the last couple of years. But I remember Willingham, getting off the topic, being one of the guys a couple of years ago, and then it didn't happen and whatever, and you see him now. And he turns out to be an Indians beater last night. But man, look who chips in again last night. Chris Dickerson, Roberto Perez, Yan Gomes. Gomi just keeps it going in the month of July, and unfortunately just came short last night. But in the kind of the fog of all that is where I'm talking about maybe some hope that goes beyond a trade or buying and selling and all of that, which is within the organization. And that is the man that, as I said earlier, Mike Brandenberry called the best prospect player that the Indians have developed in their organization since Manny Ramirez. And that says a lot right there. And Mike is very measured with his words. He takes his time. He makes sure he doesn't jump and make bombastic statements. So when he says something like that, seriously, you guys, take it with something if you haven't seen, because some guys, not everybody goes and sees the minor league guys. Not everybody gets to go to Akron or wherever he may be at the time and go see Lindor. And so sometimes you have to depend on other people's reports. Mike's a guy that I listen to. He's got his hand on the pulse of the tribe a lot too. A lot of times he'll call the moves they're going to make. He'll text me, and then I'll text him back and go, man, you nailed it again, man. You got that one, Some of them are no-brainers, but some of them he's pretty good at doing the Indians math for him. But and don't forget, that article coming up just about 30 minutes from now is exclusive interview with Lindor on didthetribewinlastnight.com. But Lindor now up to AAA, which is the next step up, as they see if he can ramp himself up quickly at that, because if so, who knows? And we don't know with Asdrubal what this is going to be. I've got a feeling this could be an extended injury here, which is why we've seen them. I mean, this accelerates the process incredibly. The trade thing was already out there, and how many people thought that was what was going on last night at first? Because I saw a lot of people across my timeline on Twitter were doing the conspiracy theory thing and speculating that perhaps a trade may have happened. And this is, for all intents and purposes, legit. And the Indians are definitely, I mean, that takes the trade out, which kind of hurts because I think, some of you may say, well, who wants Asdrubal? I think more people than you think. I think he could have been tantalizing as a piece of some stuff. Maybe not, but especially to a team that thought that they had an opportunity to re-sign him. But here it is. I mean, it is right there. And as they say, the future perhaps is now. We were going to see Lindor at some point this year anyway. You know that. But because he was going forward going to be the man. But, man, now. And think back, too. I think it was Terry Pluto. I saw pointed it out in the Plain Dealer this morning. But thinking back to the last good Indians playoff run where they almost went to the World Series and how Cabrera was that guy like Lindor is. ACab was that guy who came up and gave you that spark with the bat and the glove from the minors there. And matter of fact, he didn't even play short yet because Peralta was still playing short, so he played some second base there. And maybe Francisco Lindor is the same thing. And that's a difference maker if he can come in and contribute at the major league level offensively, and that's going to be the question. We'll talk about it, you guys. But anyways, let's talk with Jeff Gorman right now, my man from Indians101.com, and keep that right there. Jeffy, how you doing?
I'm doing super, J-Rock. It's a beautiful day. The Indians are playing somewhat well. They're above 500. They're, tension and storylines are building. It's an exciting time.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's saw, as we all did here last night, the Indians quickly call Francisco Lindor up to AAA to see how quickly he can adjust to that. I mean, he's done a decent job he's done a better job, I think, than some people thought at the AA level of getting his game up there. What do you think? How close is Cleveland and our Indians fans to seeing Francisco Lindor on the major league level? Because you've got to feel that if he can quickly catch up to AAA, it may not be too far down the road now.
Well, I think we're going to see him pretty soon. I mean, he's only 20 years old. Obviously, if they thought that he was this close, they would have had him in AAA for a while before now. But now they're just bringing him up to AAA. I think that, if everything was going fine, if, Asdrubal was healthy, if everybody was going great, if the team was really, well on their way to another playoff spot, they would have brought him up in September to maybe help out a little bit, get his feet wet. But now they're in kind of a position where not just due to Asdrubal, but due to a lot of situations, they might actually need him to be the spark, to be the, like you just talked about Cabrera a few years ago, because I don't think this team can afford to bring in another bat. The bats that they have right now have to start doing the job, and they haven't been doing the job. And if we can make one trade, if we can bring in one person before the deadline, I really think it's got to be a starting pitcher. The way that the rotation has been just cobbled together day by day due to the absence and ineffectiveness of Justin Masterson. So I think that, this injury to Cabrera might speed that day along. They might keep Lindor at AAA for maybe the next week or two and then bring him right up. We could see Lindor here in maybe the last 2 months of the season, and he might do very, very well. He might surprise everybody just with his glove and possibly with his bat to show that he's, ready to compete at this level. I know it's a big jump, but I think that if somebody is going to spark this offense who's not currently on the team, it might be Francisco Lindor.
I'll tell you, I think the Indians may be thinking the same thing. Obviously fans are hoping that. I'm very intrigued. Like I said, I know that Mike Brandenburry does not say things like, statements like that lightly. And I've seen some of Lindor enough that I go, man, I'm with it. Enough people that I trust their opinions have said this guy's ready. He will rise to the level of where he goes. So if that's the case, then let's see. And I do believe you've got a safety blanket with the Vilas here. So you've got some play here. And I'm telling you, man, I'm with you. I think sooner rather than later. And he could be, use that term, that spark. We've seen not just the Indians, but teams in general have used that, a young guy. And we've seen the Indians several times, whether it's Cabrera, whether it's a Jared Wright, whether it's Danny Salazar down the stretch last year, that guy that comes in and gives you that little oomph, that little spark from down below. And I think Lindor's going to be that guy. And it's, I'll tell you though, I know a lot of Cleveland's not with me on this anymore. I'm still in my heart a Cabrera guy. I believe Asdrubal Cabrera can play some ball, but clearly he's fallen off from the level that he was at, man. But he's still, as we see, I don't know. And I think he may be a guy that will benefit from a change of scenery. That will, maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe he'll always be inconsistent through the rest of his career. But you look at those stretches that even now he'll lock in. You know, I mean, he can still hit the ball. He can still hit it well. But then he goes through them absolutely terrible stretches where he looks like he's never held a bat before. It's a bit frustrating. And then you throw